Ready? Start. It was a great act of service to this country that Jawaharlal ji introduced planning in this country. But the planning that was introduced did not achieve what it had to achieve. Planning is good, but when it goes astray, it does more harm than good. I cannot say we have made no progress. We have made progress. We were not manufacturing even as been in this country when we become free. Even the spindle to the spinning wheel had to be imported. That position has changed and we are producing not only steel, aluminium or all the materials of the railway or sugar machinery or electric machinery. We can even produce a steel mill now. But with all this advance in heavy industries, the dissatisfaction today is much greater than we became free. While prosperity in some sections has increased substantially or even perceptible when it is compared to the progress made by the affluent people, there is a great dissatisfaction because their expectation, which is not very high in my view, is not fulfilled. And this is where planning has not succeeded in creating conditions which would remove this dissatisfaction and create a feeling of not only satisfaction but an atmosphere of hope and courage so that we may face our problems with greater confidence and with greater efficiency. Heavy industries are necessary to some extent, especially in items like the railway materials or electric machinery or other machinery or steel or aluminium or metals or machines required for these purposes. Consumer goods, which are far more essential for the poor and not only for the every person in society, are uneconomic to produce in heavy industries. They can be more conveniently produced, more easily produced and produced with much less capital per capita or per man employed in small and cottage industries than in the bigger industries. This is a controversial subject. In a heavy industry, to employ one man requires a capital of anything between rupees 25,000 and rupees 1,50,000, whereas for cottage industries, the investment per person employed would not exceed rupees 500. It may be less than that in many cases, and the employment problem in this country is a most serious problem because without removing unemployment, we can never bring in happiness for our people. Therefore, we must fight it on a war footing. All this requires full attention and a change in attitude to planning as regards priorities, also as regards methods. All this has happened because we begin to imitate the West and the Western affluent methods. They are good for them, but they are not good for us. Whatever is good in them, we can certainly take and we should take. We cannot think we know everything and we have nothing to learn. We have much to learn from every person. The wisest man has to learn something even from a child. We have to learn a great deal from the whole world, and whatever we learn must be based on our foundations of culture, requirements of society, and our genius. This we have almost forgotten. This is the greatest misfortune of all of us. This we have to remove, and unless we get back this pride in our own basic culture and in our own way of life, I am afraid whatever attitude we may keep, it will miscarry. Any task can become successful only if it is taken up with a right attitude, in the right perspective, and with right means. Efficiency can be defined as the skill with which you can perform a task with the least labor, with the least expenditure of money, and with maximum contentment of doing it and of producing right things. Now, if you examine any task with the background, I am quite sure there will be little scope for disagreement. Our planning is thought in terms of large expenditure of money because we thought more of heavy industries. We should have attended to it first. Of course, major irrigation works are necessary. As a matter of fact, I myself have something in view which perhaps requires an expenditure of about rupees 15,000 crores for making canals in the north and in the south, which will be horizontal, connecting them with vertical channels with all rivers, so that we have a waterway system which will even be cheaper than the railway system, and no depth of water for any irrigation throughout the country. As a matter of fact, there was scheme with the East India Company and the British government earlier, before the railways had been planned, and there was a scheme for improving the waterway system, or having waterway system or transport and for irrigation. But they found that if that was taken up, they will have very little to import from England, and therefore they decided in favor of railways, where everything was imported from the Britain. Stop.